Start recording. Okay. I guess we should. You want me to start from the very top now?
If we don't know the weather, how will we dress?
I mean, it's on my shirt right now. You guys can buy this shirt. It says Morgantown Weather Report -Nation. You too can be styling like me. Hey, where's the camera? You can be styling like me. I'm looking at OBS and it's fucking me up. I'm like, you can be styling like me.
It's okay. We got camera 1 and camera 2. Got a nice setup.
No, we just have one camera. We're not that fancy, Matthew. Gosh. Okay.
The funny thing about the weather report is being on the radio, I would always be like, it's cold out. It reminds me of like Family Guy.
U92, you mean?
Yeah, let's go to Ollie
I mean,
and see what the weather report. It's cold.
It's going to rain.
Yeah.
It's raining sideways.
And they're like, nah, man, we got to do the weather report. Like, it's just one of those things you got to do with radio.
We always had was it AccuWeather? Well, no, it wasn't AccuWeather. It was. No. We always had to print it out from the website, and then we'd have to read it on the air multiple times throughout the day. Yeah, that was one of the things.
So what's the weather in Morgantown?
It's not time yet. You're stepping all over my intro.
Shit. Sorry, okay.
Welcome to the Barack Obama approved world's greatest podcast, Hyphen Nation. I am your host, Kellen Conley, aka B Hyphen. I have a very special guest with me today. I'm not going to bullshit you. I see I'm already cussing because you're here. I try to keep it real clean and friendly. Like, I had to say a couple things because there were some song titles when I was talking about Her Loss, the Drake and 21 Savage album.
Okay.
I had to read song titles.
Okay.
I try to keep it fancy, but I have here with me on episode 204, the Barack Obama approved world's greatest podcast, I have Matthew Chivalry Spencer, all the way from New Zealand. From Wellington.
18 hours into the future.
18 hours in the future. If he was in New Zealand right now, let's go to the world clock. Podcasting 101. Let's see. I know he could probably do off the top of his head, but I just want to use my world clock because I only have one other city in here. Oh, look, Wellington. It is 4:46 Sunday there. So technically it is my birthday right now.
Yeah. They're already partying.
They're already partying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Celebrating my birth. Welcome to my podcast, finally.
After 206 episodes.
No, 4.
406. 204 episodes. I can't believe I haven't been able to get here sooner. But
I think it's worth it.
It is.
There's a lot of filler episodes. There's a lot of episodes with Mark Robb on them where Mark Robb
Did you do that thing like they do on like old sitcoms where it's like a reflective? Yeah, they just pull all the clips from the past seasons.
I've thought about clip shows. I could easily do a clip show.
You haven't stooped to that level yet?
I'm lazy.
Standards.
I don't have standards. I don't have standards. So if anybody wants to pay me to do anything, anything, I will do it. But
words you don't want to say on the internet.
But me and Matt used to have a podcast years ago called Hip Hop Manifesto and a website which I still have stored on my hard drive. I still have the XML file. A lot of fun to revisit that sometimes. And the podcast is actually still available, like all 13 episodes. Our last episode was called "Is Kanye Crazy?" and we dropped that in 2013. So you're welcome. We warned you.
And we were so right that we didn't even need to make another episode.
It was so good that we called it quits. That was when you were in Wisconsin. We did that over Skype, like before all this pandemic stuff. That was like
cool.
20. Yeah, I was at my old place on Louise. This before Leah was born. And yeah, we did it. We did it on Skype, and then I recorded it, and then it came out sounding lovely. Man.
We had hundreds of thousands of streams.
We had a lot of streams. Yeah, a lot of streams because all those episodes was posted on archive.org, and I could see the downloads and stuff. And there's a decent number of downloads still. I mean, I don't think now, but the numbers we had on there was really surprising. I'm like who was listening to it this much? I know I wasn't clicking on it 9,000 times an episode.
Well, basically what happened is there was so much success from that we pursued our solo careers.
We broke up.
And now, many years later, we're having a reunion podcast.
That's exactly what this is. It's so good that I've actually, for the first time ever, set up 2 microphones, and I'm recording video, and I'm holding I'm holding my studio microphone that I rap into. Like I've seen people do on different videos. I'm like, why do they do that? And now I know. Because this is sometimes the only way you can get shit to work. So, like we always do about this time, Matthew, we got to do the Morgantown weather report. So, can you tell the people how it feels outside right now?
It's cold.
It's cold, he said. Did you know? Did you know?
Did you know it is indeed cold?
It is 29 degrees, clear with periodic clouds, and it feels like 29 degrees. And in the rest of the night, it's only getting slightly warmer. Oh no, it's staying around 29. And then in 6 in the morning, it goes up to like 30 degrees. There's a small chance of some precipitation. But that's your Morgantown weather report, brought to you by Shop Top Belgium White.
Well, just because it's an international show right now.
Oh. Speaking of international,
your Wellington, New Zealand weather report.
Do it.
Is not that cold. But I can't tell you exactly what it is because my phone's unloaded. No,
your phone's not cooperating.
It's a breezy 72 degrees Fahrenheit.
Ooh, okay.
And it's going to be a sunny day.
What's a sunny day?
And normal Wellington with lots of rain and wind all throughout the week.
Beautiful. That was great. You've had a lot of practice at this.
We have, yes.
You've been waiting for this moment to come on the Barack Obama Approved World's Greatest Podcast and spit the Wellington weather report.
I've been rehearsing it for a long time.
I appreciate that.
I don't have a Barack Obama Approved podcast, but Barack Obama once followed me on the Twitter that I used to have.
He still follows me. That's the reason why this is Barack Obama Approved.
I almost didn't cancel my Twitter account just because I wanted to keep that follow.
There's still time to log back in. I don't
know.
You don't have to use it.
Do I support Elon Musk?
I mean, that
or do I support past POTUS Barack Obama?
We could just, we could just jump into it. So once Elon took over, you were like, I'm done. After being on Twitter since 2008. Yeah. We started like same month, right? August 2008?
Yeah. And you ever look at the statistics for how many tweets you have?
You know, I deleted like half of my tweets, though. Last year, I cleaned out all that dumb shit I used to say.
Pursuing a career in politics?
No. I just used to say whatever came in my mind, and some of it was not appropriate.
I spoke a little bit too wild on Twitter, and then I started meeting some people on Twitter in real life, and I'm like, I gotta dial this back.
Do you remember the Sasha Grey argument we had on Twitter?
Yes, I do.
Your half still existed. Mine didn't, but your half still did. Also, Sasha Grey, I know you're watching this, and I'm a big fan of your stream, and still a big fan of you, and I'm glad that you're living well. Thanks for everything.
This episode also brought to you by OnlyFans.
OnlyFans.com/Hip-Hop Manifesto. The first, right now you can get in for free. We got all kinds of great content on there, man. We got Solo, we got GG, we got BG, we got all that stuff.
You were just talking about how you do anything on the internet.
I will do
now you're promoting your OnlyFans.
For OnlyFans. Also, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you want to take a second and subscribe to the channel, Hyphen Universe, leave a comment, talk about how good my man's Will is on his shirt right here, his Vineyard Vine shirt, how good his hair looks. What is this thing on your neck, sir?
This is a punamu.
Okay.
So this is it's a stone that only exists in southern island of New Zealand.
Okay.
And it's a tonga or a treasure to the indigenous people there, the Māori. And so this was a gift actually to me from one of my coworkers, the chief Māori health advisor that I work with. So
nice.
It's a bit of an honor to be able to wear it. It's one of those things that like you can't buy yourself. It's going to be gifted to you.
Yeah, I remember you telling me that.
And it was really moving.
It sounded moving. So y'all got to understand, all of our conversations since he left in November 2019, other than one phone call, which came across as spam on my phone. And he was like, it's me, pick up. And I was like, oh, okay. Have been through this app called Marco Polo, which is desperate to find a way to charge us to use this app. Because he discovered it. It's like, you can do all this stuff. You can listen 2 times speed. And you can react with these different emojis. And blah, blah. There's only a couple things you couldn't do. And then like 3 months later, they're like, God, these people in West Virginia and New Zealand really like this app. We should start charging.
They took all that back.
They took all that back. They gave me like 7 free days recently.
Oh,
actually.
yeah, I sent that to you.
Yeah.
It's like
so you sent that to me. Okay.
It's
I
back
sent
when
it
like
to Ed.
Gmail had to be like invite only.
Oh my god! Somebody tried to tell me at my job not that long ago. They were like, "Yeah, I had Gmail back in like 2002, 3." I'm like, I wanted to be like, no.
Nah.
Gmail wasn't until like 05 at the earliest.
Things that never
And
happened.
we were like real early because you got it and then you sent it to me, and then like every time you open a Gmail account, you could like send out 10 invites, and they would give you like a couple more every year.
Yeah.
And cause it was smart on Google's part, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I mean, who knew it would be? I mean,
but that was like that viral exclusive thing that was kind of ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But I remember, I'm like, I'm just gonna invite myself and like 15 accounts around that time just in case.
Somebody saw how many email accounts they have the other day. I was like, I got like 15. I'm like, why do you have 15? I'm like, well, I've opened up one for a bunch of podcasts, and then like there's a Hyphen Universe at Gmail, there's a Hyphen Podcast Group at Gmail, there's you can always email me there. bhyphen@gmail.com. Obviously, that's the one. And then I have my professional one, Kellen Conley at gmail.com. And Hip Hop Manifesto at gmail.com might still work.
Okay.
There's just, or HHM Podcast was what it was at one point. But in order to get the Hip Hop Manifesto on Apple Podcasts and stuff now, I think there is a Hip Hop Manifesto at gmail.com. So I just have all these different ones that are normally pod related that I could go into. And they're just chilling.
Oh man, too bad you can't get like one really solid top level domain like hyphen.com, and then just everything is just
I had bhyphen.com, but now it's going to cost me like $2,100 if I want to get it back. Did I tell you about that?
No.
Well, what happened was I tried to move from WordPress to Medium before Medium started charging for hosting. It used to be free. And I did it, and I hadn't heard anything about it. They're like, it takes a few days, and you'll be up and running, and nothing was happening. So I emailed them like, oh yeah, we're just having some technical difficulties, but we'll let you know when we get up and running. Like a month goes by, and I'm like, still nothing. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're charging like $70 now, and I was like one of probably the last people to apply before they weren't supposed to be charging, but they just put me on hold until they could want to charge me.
Wow.
So in that time frame, I had accidentally let my domain expire, thinking I'd be able to get bhyphen.com back easily. And it's under like nice domains, whatever. If you type in bhyphen.com, it'll come up, huge domains, it comes up. It's like, if you want this back, it's $2,200.
That's some mafia level extortion.
And they renew it every single year. Like there's like 2 years ago, I thought that it was going to expire, and I kept waiting for it to expire to get it back. And they just renew it. And so that's the only way I can get back bhyphen.com. And so that's why I have Hyphen Universe.
Okay. Man, that's like, there was the San Diego Padres had a Twitter account. And for Mother's Day, they made it the Madres instead of the Padres account. And as soon as they changed it, they didn't think they'd like keep it. Somebody snatched it.
You remember you did that to me?
I did do that to you. I forgot I did that.
Because I became the bhyphen on Twitter.
Yeah.
And then you stole bhyphen from me.
Yeah.
And you were tweeting at me, and I was like freaking out. I was like, it's like, yo, somebody stole my name, and they're talking to me. Blah, blah, blah. And you're like, it's me. I just don't want you to lose your name. And I was like, yeah, I'm going back. I don't want this to ever happen again. So there are some.
Like, let this be a lesson to you.
There's like 10 bhyphen tweets out there from twitter.com/bhyphen.
That were done by some mysterious person.
No, that was me. Before I went,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean the bhyphen? Yeah.
The bhyphen. So that still exists. And then I got my name back from you because I kept trying to change my name back and it wouldn't let me. It's like someone has it. I'm like, no, that's my name.
I bet someone's already taken my chivalry handle on Twitter.
No one's
really?
taken it. Nope.
It's so weird because I would get so many tweets over the years, or like mentions for people that were either talking about Chivalry, the video game, which is, in my opinion, is a shit video game. And or this Malaysian metal band, I think it was, that was Chivalry. And it would be like lots and lots of stuff in a language I couldn't understand at Chivalry. I'm like, why do these Malaysian people keep talking to me? I know I'm not hot in the streets in Malaysia.
Your original handle on Twitter though was like CH1V.
Oh yeah.
4LRY. Is that what you did?
Yeah, because it was what I used on Steam, and so I didn't really think that like your handle was gonna be a thing back then. And then you kept telling me like, you're gonna want to change that.
I did. I was like, why are you just change it? Just make it Chivalry.
I miss my Twitter account.
Well, here's the thing. It got real dark like a week or so after. Like everybody came to the Twitter funeral. Like it was a Wednesday night. I mean, everybody, yo, it was crazy. Everybody's like, yo, this is the last tweet I ever tweet, because that's when people were like walking out, and like Alon had locked, like, you're either in or you're out, and then he's trying to call back people who walked out, like, hey, we're locked out of this stuff. I need you to come back because we don't know. And we were literally like, people were tweeting like from major accounts that at this rate, without these engineers here, the server's going to go down probably sometime early tomorrow morning and all this stuff. Like, we literally thought we were going to lose Twitter. Like,
I didn't realize it got that real.
Yeah. Like, me and Mark Rob, like, we were on there talking about stuff. And did you know, do you remember when they did stories on Twitter?
Yep.
Fleets.
Yep.
Did you know there was a thing called Fleetnik on Twitter?
No.
The last night before they took away fleets off Twitter, Black Twitter went crazy. And it was nothing but TNA everywhere.
It was like Freaknik.
Yes, but Fleetnik. Mark Rob attended. I had no idea. And there was literally.
Did you not get the invite to Black Twitter?
I was sleeping.
Big party.
My Twitter usage had just gotten so low that I just wasn't on Twitter like that, really like tweeting. So if I'd go in there like normally in the mornings and look at some stuff, retweet a couple things, might hit it a couple times throughout the day, be in our group chat or whatever. But I wasn't on Twitter like that. So Mark Rob brings this up like later. He's like, hey man, did you check out Fleetnik? I'm like, what was Fleetnik? He's like, oh, they took fleets away, so everybody was going crazy. He was like, it was everywhere. I was like, it was everywhere.
Oh, this is what I loved about being in New Zealand, is being 18 hours ahead. You're only getting Twitter after dark. You remember how HBO and Showtime used to be like sometime when the kids are in bed? Now it's softcore porn.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was hilarious. But because they used to have these crazy shows. I can't remember what they were called, but I just remember seeing them on TV like, what the hell is this?
Emmanuel in Space?
No.
You mean Taxi Cab Confessions?
Yeah, like Taxi Cab Confessions, stuff like that. Like just weird shows about fetishes. Mm-hmm. That's how Twitter is.
Real sex.
Yeah, real sex. That's
it.
So like Twitter in the U.S., like once the East Coast. I guess it's
one of those shows, guys. There's no. This is my best.
We're just talking history. This is a thing that happened.
This is history.
It would happen, but like when the East Coast, like when it starts to get late, things get a little bit crazier on Twitter, and then like slowly the West Coast, like it gets late there, but then it's really late on the East Coast, and things start getting wilder and wilder.
Yeah. And it don't even happen.
We call that the morning time in New Zealand. We're just sitting there and we wake up to that.
Bro, I hit the Big 12 trending topic the other day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, what's going on?
Because you were
Big
one
12?
of 12 people on Twitter.
Yes, that's it. I just want to see what's happening in Big 12. I was like, oh, team leave or something like that. And bro, this cat, the tweet said, I was like, my friend walked in and his roommate stroking his Big 12 and he didn't stop. And all you see is this. And I was like, oh!
Wow.
And then I told George and Mark Rob, I'm like, yo, I tapped Big 12 and Mark Rob's like, I don't see it. And he's like, I scrolled down, I see it now. I was like, yo, I don't know what's happening.
The last time that happened to me when I was like, yo, why is Nintendo
I was
Switch
in a dentist's office
and Gene Ico like trending?
Oh, God.
I was like, well, what's she doing with Nintendo Switch? You shouldn't Google that. It was just a thing that happened.
It was a thing that happened. It's always a thing that happens.
So yeah, 3.5 years since I saw you last. Is that right? Since November 2019. And we tried to.
You literally went to the airport like the next day or so, I think?
Yeah, it was something like the 16th or something.
Yeah, because we last place we went to was Brew Pub, I believe. And then we split
back when
up.
They used to let me in the bars.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. So look, we go to the new Apothecary. There's a nice new Apothecary Ale House here in Morgantown. Used to be on Chestnut. Now they're on the corner of Spruce and Pleasant Street. So we go to Apothecary Ale House. Excited to take my dude there. He's always loved Apothecary. And I'd been there once before with Angel and Anthony and our friend Maggie. Went in there and everything like that. No problems, no bouncers, no nothing. No door check. Walk in, And my man's sitting here, and he's reading his little book, and he's like, I got CID. I'm like, all right, whatever. There's a lot of college kids. So understandably so, Friday night, January, you got to check an ID. Give him my ID. Oh, okay, you're good. And then Matt pulls out his international ID, and he goes, we can't take this. I can't let you in. And Matt's like, well, I got my international driver's license, or my New Zealand driver's license. He's like, do you have your passport? And Matt's like, no, it's at the back of the house. And he's like, well, I can't let you in because if ABC comes in here and they're going to fine me $1,000 and they're going to fine the bartenders, every one of them $1,000. If we even serve you, you're going to get fined and it's going to be a big old mess. So I literally look at my man and I don't do this. I don't. I said, so you really don't give a shit, do you? And he's like, it's not that I don't care. I just don't want to get fined. And then I was like, he's literally here for 2 more days from New Zealand. He's been gone for 3.5. He's like, I understand. I can't let you in. I was like, and I almost was, what if he doesn't even drink? What if he just wants to come in and look around? What if he wants to use your pisser? And I was like, all right, fine, let's go. So hit a bar down the street, and they said the same thing. They checked the door, the guy checking IDs and stuff. He said, we're not supposed to let you in without a passport, everything like that. But he's like, it should be okay, so you can come on in. So we had a few drinks there. Then we went to 123. No problem again at the door. Like the least problem in 123. He didn't say anything. He's like, let me see your New Zealand. He's like, oh yeah, pitchers match. Come on. He's like $30 because it was we were with our friend Steve, so it was like $30. And they let us in, and we had the most fun there. But Apothecary Ale House, what the hell? Like, this man is not going to get you in trouble with ABC. And I understand it's like, we have a rule. And I even said, I was like, is there somebody I can talk to? Like, because I was like, let me talk to somebody who matters in this case. And I really hate to minimize somebody like that because I'm not that guy. But in this case, my best friend's in from New Zealand. You're telling me he can't come in and have some of your finely crafted beers because you want to be like, I don't get fined by ABC because they already have way too many people in there. But you're more concerned about some college students sneaking in there. And then they look at his stuff and they're like, oh, you weren't supposed to serve him. Oh my God. And meanwhile, little Miss Susie back here is slinking out, who's had 6 beers and she's working her fake. So
I just remember walking on the street and be like, yo, I had an easier time getting alcohol when I was underage. Which, I get that I just didn't ever really think about that. Like when you come back to your home country, you think, I'm a citizen. Like what else do I really need to get around?
Yeah, he's like, I'm a citizen. He lives. I'm a citizen of the United States.
But then I went to go buy these shock tops, and even then, I took my passport this time, and they almost still didn't let me buy it. It's hard out here in these streets.
I think it's a West Virginia thing, to be honest.
It must be. I was really surprised by that.
Like, did you try to buy alcohol like up in Pittsburgh or New York, or anything like that? Like even a drink somewhere?
In restaurants, but
yeah,
no place I got carded.
Right.
I wasn't really going to nightclubs like that.
No, I mean, we weren't either. We were just trying to hit some local bars for real. Like, and then when I was like, hey, there's live music 1-2-3, and they look interesting. And then if we got to the door, it was like, I'm like, yeah, we ain't going in there. But it was a nice groove, man.
Yeah,
see my man Pig, and bartenders were fun. Watched a little Bohemian Rhapsody, and yeah, good time to have all.
And like an hour and a half of this dude with like a woman from like the bow of a ship.
Big Dick Mary.
Oh my God. So the bar had this I don't know if it was really from a ship, but it was just like a woman that you would see at like...
It was an accoutrement? Is that what they call it? Accoutrement? Like ACROU?
That's at like the front of the ship. Like, yeah. Is that the prow? I don't know.
I don't know if it's
at the front of the ship. So she's just sitting up there, right?
The part that Rose was that Jack was holding Rose over. I'll never let
he was
go.
Buying one for a different bar, and apparently was in this bar
he
for
bought the old apothecary.
Hours. Yeah.
And apparently he's decorating it.
We should have been talking to him about IDs.
I know, right? But yeah, he literally was at the bar with this wooden lady.
But instead,
since 6 p.m., we got there at 10,
maybe 11. Yeah. Instead, was making this wooden woman talk.
It was hilarious.
Yes, over and over again to everybody. It was pretty rowdy for a long time.
He talk about living the bit.
And I thought that the bartender was about to like pour shots like off of the woman itself.
Yeah,
like,
he was going to use her boobs as a luge, man. I was like, I don't know if you want to drink off that.
It was a very...
Her boobs are going... I'm like, where'd the liquor go? Big Dick Mary took it. It belongs to her now.
That was the craziest thing.
It was fun. A lot of fun. So
yeah, almost 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Moved away. And with the time zone difference, man, Marco Polo is the only thing that really was able to work. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because I be forgetting. So I'll be middle of the day. I'll do some videos. I'll reply to some of his like on the way home and stuff. And then especially when I'm doing laundry. That's when I'm a Marco Polo monster. I'll be over there and I'll be talking to him and Ed and doing laundry.
Someone's just folding, putting in the basket, talking to me.
Putting stuff on the drying rack. And then I'll be forgetting because I'm waiting for a response. I'm like, oh yeah, it's tomorrow and it's 16 hours ahead. So, and I don't pull out my world clock then to look. I'm like, he'll get back to me. And then I wake up in the morning. It's like 5 polos later.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm sorry I said so many polo. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what you say on the polos.
I'm walking around through my house with my phone.
No, this is the worst thing he does to me. He'll go outside, and New Zealand is the windiest fucking place on the planet, yo. Because he'll be walking around and be like, and he'll be like, and Lisa, Bella, fuck. And I'm like, bro, it looks beautiful over there. I don't even know what he said.
I only get the time, really the most time that I get to be able to talk to anybody for just a candid conversation is usually when I'm walking from the train, either to work, on my lunch break, or when I'm walking back to the train again.
Mm-hmm.
I would talk to you from my car, but I've already gotten a ticket for doing that once. I'm not doing it again.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I'm always in the cup holder now. So I get this nice view, like right here.
Yeah. Yep.
He's like, I'm driving. Like I can see out your Tesla ceiling, buddy. I can see the sky. I know you're not in Lisa's car. I'm driving. Listen, he was playing Jay-Z one time. He's playing with some Jay-Z track. I was like, you know that's mad distracting me, right? That's a good one. Like I can't. You're over here talking. I'm like,
another time you're like, that's my song. That's my song. You're listening to. It's right there.
Yeah. He's listening to 88 Tape Deck. I'm like, hey, you're listening to my song. That's what's up. I appreciate that.
No, you always know when I'm driving my wife's car because it's like, please observe all traffic regulations.
I'm like, damn. Like it feels like Lisa had it installed. She's like, I want this to talk to you every chance.
We never turned it off because I was so scared of getting a ticket, and I thought that if I got a ticket, that I wouldn't be able to get residency. And so I was driving around like a 90-year-old woman.
So you're here for 3 weeks? Is that how long?
2 weeks.
It's only 2 weeks?
Yeah, it's not long enough.
I was just thinking last night, like after you left and I went to Sheets and got some hot dogs and stuff. And I was just like, man, like I had so much fun getting to see him and everything like that. And like here in a few days, he'll be back across the world at his house and I'll be here. And I'm like, damn, I can't believe it went so fast. And like, I feel like if it's fast for me, then it's got to be fast for y'all in a way. Because I know right now, like you're still in the middle of it, but like here soon you'll be back at the house and like I gotta mow my grass and shit. And I was just with them, and now I'm back here.
It's not long enough, but I didn't really know what to expect coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like we intended, like when we left, that we were going to come back. Like,
get out of here, expat! We don't want your kind here.
But like we left November 2019. And then, so it's like you get the holidays, and then all of a sudden it was COVID, and we were in lockdown there forever.
Yeah.
And like, man, the borders just reopened like back in June or something. And so, I mean, tons of Americans are coming back. A lot of them are just straight up moving back. So it's an interesting time, like over there. But I didn't really know what to expect. And there's been so many little things that have been weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I left, and one of the things I was looking forward to was a change in perspective. Like I just knew like there was a whole different world out there that operated differently. But what I never expected was coming back and how weird that would be. Like we went to like a Penguins game we did the national anthem. I was like, oh shit, I haven't done the national anthem forever. I'm like looking around, like I forget. Do I have to put my hand on my heart?
Is it my left hand? I always do the basketball player stance. I put my hands behind my back and like kind of bounce a little bit. And that's what I always do. And we'll be out in public and stuff. I'm like, I should just sit. Angel would be mortified. Not that Angel don't support that, but she would like, why the hell do you choose to sit right now? Like,
I remember at my master's graduation, I thought about kneeling. I was like, it would have fucking killed me. Because I remember like two guys were sitting right next to me. They were in like the National Guard. And they were super conservative.
Right.
And I was like, man,
every time I think about like at Black Bears games, I'm like, I ain't gonna stand up for this. I ain't gonna do it. And then Leanne's gonna come over like, why did you do that? I gotta answer questions about this about the black guy who was sitting. And they'll be like, does Cortez stand for the national anthem? She'll probably be like, yes. I'm like, okay, that's fair. If Cortez does it, then I need to do it. Because Cortez don't do anything Cortez don't want to do. Shout out to the homie, man.
But it was just, everything was different. And that was so bizarre because I thought, okay, I'm going to go home. I'm going to eat a bunch of food. And I'm going to see a bunch of people. But what I learned is that...
I got to pause real quick. Yeah. His wife Lisa, she wanted two things. Apparently three. She wanted Chick-fil-A, she wanted Olive Garden, and she wanted Cracker Barrel.
The Chick-fil-A wasn't too important. It was more like sweet tea.
He said Chick-fil-A. It was important. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, man, what was I saying?
Just the differences about coming back.
Yeah, what we learned is that the places don't even really matter anymore. Like Morgantown, West Virginia, like in some ways I feel like I missed everything. In some ways I feel like I didn't miss a damn thing.
I kept telling you that. I'm like, you're like, oh, I want to see what's showing. Like, it's still Morgantown.
Yeah, but like
exact same.
3.5 years in anybody's life usually has a lot of growth.
Right.
It doesn't matter how old you are. But if you're in your 30s, like there's probably some serious stuff that happened.
Yeah.
Not that much has happened. Like besides like a few kids being born like here and there, some marriages that didn't last. Really the only thing that's changed is a whole lot of restaurants that kind of came and went.
Yes.
But what really changed was that like I realized that like people matter a whole lot more. Mm-hmm. So there's some people that I thought were like my best friends ever when I left that haven't hit me up once since I left. Or people that were like, oh, this isn't convenient anymore. And like, it was just done.
Yeah.
And then other people that were like finding whatever means possible to like stay in touch. And I come back and I'm like, man, 2 weeks is not enough.
No.
To spend time, like genuine time with people. And you're like, shit. But at the same time.
I'm getting 2 nights right now.
At the same time, you're like...
I told Aaliyah's like, is Matt still supposed to come? I'm like, unless he says otherwise.
That was the coolest thing, putting Aaliyah to bed tonight.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you got to be part of the routine. We didn't do the prayers because that's Angel's part. Like, I have them recorded, and but they're not updated.
Okay.
Last year. Normally, I'll do that, and we'll do her little part, because she'll do, like, a part where we God bless everybody.
Okay.
And then the second part is, like look out for these people and this going on in the world and safe trips and stuff like that. Like, she got it all down pat. And I can't.
That Rose Thorn Bud thing, that was pretty cool. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, that was something she came up with a couple years ago. It's called Rosebud Thorn is what it is. And then we've added in Good Deed here in the last 8 months to a year or something like that. So the good deed, the rose is something good to happen to you today. And then the bud is something you're looking forward to tomorrow. And then the thorn is supposed to be something that you need to work on. It's supposed to be something personal. But usually we cop out and like, oh, I was tired. Like I got in trouble a lot for saying I was tired. Like, you can't say you're tired. So if we do say it, it's either something serious happened, like me and Angel might have been sniping each other. I was like, yeah, I shouldn't have said this to mommy or something like that. Or I was a little rude to Leah early this morning. Just little things, and Aaliyah even will sometimes admit that she's done something. And same with Angel. And then the good deed is obviously something just good that you did. So I don't like saying stuff at work because I'll be like, I picked up Aaliyah from gymnastics. But there will be times like, I really don't think I did. And Angel's like, you did something good at work. I'm like, I guess I did my job. And people were and the members that helped were happy, But it's real nice little way to reflect at the end of the day.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I met this guy that
you can bite that if you want, if y'all are interested. You have to feed that one to the wife and see if she wants to.
We'll put like Creative Commons license on it.
They did this thing. She'll be like, It's like, you can do that.
We used to do a thing like that at work where I can't remember the 3 things. One was like, what have you done for yourself? What have you done for others?
Mm-hmm.
And I forget what the third one was, but it was tough, especially when you're talking about that at work, because some days you just worked.
Yeah.
And then you realize how many days it's been since you couldn't answer that, and then it kind of makes you really feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So we stopped asking that at work, but we started prioritizing like actually taking care of ourselves.
Yeah.
But that's cool. I really like that you do that.
Yeah, I love it. Normally Angel goes first, and I'm second, and Leah go last. So it was perfect timing. Like, I'm pulling up in 10, and Leah was literally brushing her teeth. Hey Eric, when you're listening to this, we started watching Spirited Away. Yes, I know you've been telling me about this for years, and we're about an hour in, and both of us were like locked into it because she's like, I don't want to watch anime, and that's not my fault. By the way, I've never said anything bad about anime. She's like, I don't want to watch anime. I don't like anime. It's like, you've never watched anime. Like, other than me trying to turn it on Dragon Ball Z like once or twice. And I was like, if you don't, we'll just turn this on. You ain't into it, we'll turn it off. But we were both hooked into it. So tomorrow, I know we're definitely finished.
So if you're listening to this and there's something you really want Kellen to watch, I decided to take a new strategy and just mail him a DVD.
On that hard drive right there is the first 3 or 4 seasons of Game of Thrones, and Eric gave that to me in 2012, and I still haven't watched them.
Yeah, but when you mail somebody a physical disc,
he came to my house and put this on my hard drive.
With Amazon, it tricks you. Like, oh shit, did I order something? Is this something I'm looking forward to?
I wasn't trying to not watch everything.
Then you open it and you're like, then it's sitting there, and you gotta put it away, and it's like, you're gonna watch me tonight, aren't you?
I like to watch. I like to watch.
So what I'm referring to is I was watching Everything Everywhere All at Once. And it was a crazy movie. I still can't tell if I liked it or if I hated it. But when I was watching it, I was like, this is going to be Kellen's favorite movie ever.
I said on the pod that is supposed to come out tomorrow. It's coming. It's literally sitting on a hard drive. I just got to edit it and put it out for y'all. I said it's probably one of my top 10 films I've ever watched in my life. Like, it was that.
I knew it when I was watching it.
I knew it from the time Jamie Lee Curtis stood up to go talk to Wayman and Elephant. Wayman and Evelyn at the elevator doors when she got up from the desk. I messaged the group and I was like, I'm in love with Jamie Lee Curtis's character in this movie already.
Wow.
And I knew.
And her character of all characters.
It was just completely different for her. Like to be a middle-aged Karen, and then of course with everything else that her character does in the movie, it's like I wasn't expecting it, and it's not like they were saying this is Jamie Lee Curtis's movie. I didn't know Jamie Lee Curtis was in there. I just thought I definitely knew Michelle Yeoh.
I didn't even know that was her halfway through the film. It's like, she looks really familiar.
I've loved Jamie Lee Curtis since True Lies. I know that face anywhere, bro. Anywhere.
I like all the memes I saw about like Michelle Yeoh winning whatever the award was. Yeah, the Golden Globe. It was like she played an Asian mom that apologized. It's like the greatest acting job of all time.
Oh shit, that's so true.
But it was really well made. It was artistic. Some of my tastes have gotten a lot lower brow, but some of the absurd things were just so WTF when you're watching it. Like the hot dog fingers. The
hot dog fingers is hilarious.
I was like, what happened? But a lot of movies are kind of getting quirkier now. Like in the Spider-Verse when they had Peter Porker, John Mulaney.
Yes, John Mulaney.
And then you're like, this is absurd, but it's hilarious.
Across the Spider-Verse comes out on June the 2nd.
Okay.
I'm hella excited.
I know you are.
I have a countdown on my
phone. That's awesome.
It's like 130 some days now, I think. Something low like that. Oh, I got a text message. Who's that? Oh, that's shout out to The Rock. They're talking.
So anyway, anytime now.
132.
There's something I really want you to see. I'm just gonna mail it to you. Just gonna make that happen.
As long as you got that digital code, baby.
It's like speaking it to existence.
Well, I mean, I wanted to watch it, and I was like, oh shit, send it to me. I definitely gotta watch it now.
So yeah, moved and you learn a lot about people, and then when you come back, it's really tough because it's like, okay, what do you do with that tiny bit of time that you have, and then you want to like squeeze every ounce of it.
Yeah.
And you're like,
I felt bad. A lady didn't want to come over, and then she's like, "Oh, my stomach hurt." I'm like, "When you say your stomach hurt, then she's like, before she's like, I will stay here." I'm like, okay. And she's like, "Oh, my stomach hurt a little bit."
Well, you know, lots of people are like, "Oh, you're in town. Like, we should hang out." But like, yeah, but you would say that even if like you've been saying that for the past couple of years.
Yes.
So it's nice to like make things happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to be spontaneous, but it's really upsetting when you're like, man, I really love these people, like love them a whole lot, and then you start to feel guilty that you blasted yourself to the other end of the world. But then you see all the things that you moved away from, and you're like, but I don't think I could ever live here. It's that you can never go home away or again thing.
Yeah, never go home again. Yeah,
it's like that. There's this poem that I look at all the time where it's like you're too foreign for where you're at, but you're too foreign like at home. You're just kind of forever stuck.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, and you're like, man, I've moved away from West Virginia 3 times. I don't think I could ever move back to West Virginia again.
I hope not.
I mean, I love it so much.
I don't think you could come back to Morgantown. I don't think. If you came back to West Virginia, it couldn't be Morgantown. Definitely wouldn't be Cambridge. There's
no other place in West Virginia.
The only other place I could think of would be Charleston, possibly.
And I hate Charleston. I mean, I love Charleston for everyone that lives there, but like, I only see the worst parts of Charleston when I go, because I'm going and I'm like visiting my mother-in-law. And you're just like,
damn. Do I need to edit that out?
No. But no, I'm saying it's different. I'm not going there, but like, I like being an outsider going into Charleston because you're like, I'm gonna hit up Taylor Books.
Yes.
I'm gonna go to the Krispy Kreme when the light is on. That's what I'm gonna do. Like, I get excited about those things. But if I was living there, I'd be like, I've ate 200 Krispy Kreme donuts to fulfill the emptiness of living here in this place where I got a shelter in place from the chemical companies that sometimes have a leak.
Facts.
I couldn't do it. Like, I would feel uncomfortable doing it. But you get to this point.
I don't think I could live anywhere else in West Virginia. Okay, that's not true. I couldn't live anywhere city-wise other than Morgantown, but if it came down to it and there was a nice plot of land somewhere close to a major city like Cape Ridge.
Major city?
That had
the booming metropolis.
A decent city. A decent city the size of Winchester. And it was like 20 minutes away, and it had a nice house on it. And I could just go there and live my life in quiet and be able to walk outside and enjoy the country air like I used to. I would do that. I would never be able to convince Angel to do that. But that's the only other thing, other situation I want to move to was Virginia.
So you got on like an Anthony Bourdain kick like not that long ago. And
yeah, still in it.
I know you didn't really watch like No Reservations, the Layover and Parts Unknown.
I watched as much Layover as I could recently that was available on Pluto. And then Parts Unknown, I definitely watched West Virginia episode. And then there was other episodes I would catch. Same when there was No Reservations or stuff I watched.
I know some people in that West Virginia episode.
Do you?
Yeah, they were patients of my wife that we would meet at the library all the time. And they would just happen to be there. And I was like, why can't that happen to me?
Right. Everybody, when he was in West Virginia, he started tweeting about West Virginia. We were all at the Mountaineer tailgate, and we're trying to get him to come to the game. And he told somebody he was going to come to the game, but he was nowhere in the game. He was all in southern West Virginia, so there was no way.
Well, if you watch those episodes, there's like this theme that happens where, he saw every place.
Been through it all. Shout out to Prodigy.
We do Quiet Storm. He saw every place on the earth, really.
Literally. And
you could see that he was just trying to find a place where like he could really fit in. And like Tony was like a New Yorker. Like,
well, that's what it was. I mean, go ahead and finish your thought. I'll come back to my thought.
Okay.
I don't want to interrupt you. So.
He's a New Yorker, like through and through.
Yes.
But he was always trying to find a place like where he could settle, like his like utopia place. And I remember, I think it was like Indonesia. He's like, oh, this is really nice. He's like, I could really live here. And you see this like kind of happen, but you also realize that there's just no place where he could be happy. And that's sad, especially knowing like what happens to him. But like I kind of feel like that. Like the more I travel, like it kind of is a little bit depressing. Like you see like the best of things. Like if you go up to Cape Cod and you're eating like clam chowder, It's going to ruin.
I need to have a lobster roll, bro.
I'm just telling you, it's going to ruin that for the rest of your life. You will never have, in the whole life, you'll be the insufferable person that's like, well, this is never as good as what it was in King.
Well, you can't come in here because ABC might show up and they're going to charge us $1,000.
Maybe that's that guy's problem. But like, the more you do that, then you're like, man, now I can't eat clam chowder anymore unless I go all the way up to Massachusetts. I'm not going to do that. Right. But you do that across everything, like go into the grocery store, get your hair cut, and then you realize that the best are in like 100 different places, and that there's no place that you need to be. And suddenly you're like, well, no place is that great anymore. It kind of diminishes the value of some of the places. Yeah. It's really, really weird. And I think I'm suffering from a bit of that.
I can understand that. But also to speak to that, and then let's see if I'll get back to my Bourdain point. This episode's just rolling. We're just going everywhere. There's no format. He's like, "What do you want to talk about?" I was like, "Just turn the fucking mic on." Shout out to Fat Joe.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. So to speak to that, in my opinion, when you say that it's hard for you to kind of feel like you belong anywhere, like your whole life, you Baltimore, and then obviously Caden Bridge, and then you went to Pittsburgh, and you'll stop in Kaiser, Pittsburgh, came back down to Morgantown, and like your whole life up to that point was you growing into an adult, obviously, and then you met Lisa, and then you guys obviously got married, and you're trying to plan your future and where you're going to go from there, and then you thought your future was Wisconsin. You went to Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And 3 years?
3 years.
It was 3 years. 2011, 2014, because you came back right before Bella was born, right?
Yep.
Like 6 months before. So you thought Wisconsin was going to be it. Y'all realized Wisconsin wasn't it. You were like, all right, let's go back to Morgantown. You came back to Morgantown. You had Bella. You had Sid. But at the same time, things started getting worse in the area, in addition to Donald being in office and everything happening nationally. And then Lisa got this opportunity to go to New Zealand, which who knew that you were going to get this offer when you guys literally talked about New Zealand, like since y'all met, like, oh, I like to go to New Zealand. So, like, and it was just like a random thing. Like I knew it that you guys had discussed it, but it was like they never moved to New Zealand. But I mean, he told me that they would like to move to New Zealand, or possibly go to New Zealand. And all of a sudden you hit me, you're like, hey, we're moving to New Zealand. I'm like, I wasn't shocked that when you said New Zealand, I wasn't shocked by that. I was like, what, you're really moving out of the country? But yeah, we're moving out of the country. So you've moved to another country and you set up home there, but then the pandemic hit, and all of a sudden, like, this new experience you guys are having was horribly downgraded by like 40 million% on top of everything. So you guys only knew COVID life like the first 3 years you've been there, really. And they just recently, 8 to 12 months, really started lifting the restrictions and stuff and getting more like us, where everything's just kind of open. It's like, you get COVID, stay away, mask up, 5 days, all this stuff now. So now the home that you went to make your own, you're still making it your own, and it's still possible for you guys to eventually be at the point where it's like, you're there, obviously. You don't want to come back as far as you know, but you don't know what opportunities might be down the line. But that's the reason why you feel that way, where it's like you see all these other places and you don't feel like there's home, because there's always been something that has prompted you to move, or you and Lisa now to move. And then each time you get settled in, there's always something going on drastically. And with Wisconsin, it was like you got there, and then obviously it was just, and then she got pregnant, and then y'all wanted to be closer to family, so y'all came back, and you backtracked essentially. So I feel like that's why you might feel that way, not to psychoanalyze you, but I mean, that's just my opinion on why you feel like that. Because I feel like this is my home. I want a bigger house because I have too much stuff in it. But at the same time, I do. I just got to.
You just gotta get to that bar set up, and you're good.
I just got the bar set up.
It'll be like a Drink Champs podcast.
Make some noise. But when I come in the door and get settled in, drop all my stuff, and the girls are here. I like being able to say the girls. It's cute. I'm like, yeah, me and the girls. We get all settled in for the night and whatever. Even if I gotta run out and pick her up and everything, I feel like this place is home. And Morgantown has been our home for forever. Like, we've never had that outside plan to go anywhere else because Angel found the job here, and then this is where she's always taught. And then I found a job and a career here, and that's what I've been doing. So our seeds have always been more planted in Morgantown, whereas your guys's has just been interrupted by great opportunities that you've pursued. And so that's why you probably.
There's been a lot of things that made me move a bunch, but
I know there is. I'm not going to go into everything.
No.
But just to be as general as possible without really breaking it down and not being able to put this out. Like, I didn't want to talk about that.
No. It's so like New Zealand is a place I'll probably never feel like completely at home. And one of the interesting things about it there is that what's really important there is like your relation to time and space. What I mean by that is that like when Mari introduce themselves, the first things they talk about aren't even about themselves. They're talking about their connections to land. Like they're talking about, here's the mountain that my family has a connection. Here's the river. Here's the ocean. Here's the lake. Here is the name of the boat that our family unit used to like get across the Pacific Ocean to get here. The name of it.
And it's
like
not
still
like
connected
that
to
here.
it.
Everything is built off of
yeah, right.
This is what
it's about you. Yeah,
this is me. This
and
is
then
what
you're talking about all of the family that you can remember. So you can call it genealogy. There, it's a bit more. It's a lot more than that. But it's called Whakapapa. And you talk about all of that, and then at the very end, it's like, oh yeah, my name's Matt. So like,
right.
In doing that, it was really shocking to me because I moved around so much. I don't really have a strong connection to like any particular place. And if you go back even like in the past like 4 generations of my family, 3 of them have moved countries. The same with my wife.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, okay, I need something. And you're like, well, I grew up in West Virginia, like went from K to 12 in West Virginia, then did my undergrad and my master's degree there. If I have any connection to anywhere, it's here. And you can have that strong connection, but it still doesn't like exactly make you who you are.
Yeah.
Because you can always go someplace else and get connected to that. And I realized that like having that strong connection is only important because of the people that are in it. And I know I was saying earlier that like people matter a whole much, but it's weird to acknowledge a place that means so much to you when you're all the way on the other side of the world being like, but I'll say it here. Like, and it's interesting, but you gotta say like at that time in my life, like that was this is the place like factors outside of my control or even some of the things I could choose, like that happened and it's a part of me and it'll shape who I'll be for the rest of my life. But like moving forward, you're like, but this is what I gotta do.
Yeah.
And man, I don't know how like other people do it, like people that are in like the NBA that end up like playing in Europe and China and everything else. They have the same thing, man. They're like journeyman careers and stuff. Yeah. Like their family are still back there and they're someplace else. Mm-hmm. So like I know I can't really complain. It's a place of privilege, but it's interesting the way it makes you change in like how you look at the world.
Yeah.
Or it could be the shock top talking.
It could be the shock top talking.
Well, what were you going to say?
I was going to say about Anthony Bourdain is like you had said he was a New York guy and everything like that, and I kind of touched this on like when I did that little Bourdain piece in my newsletter.
Yeah. Which is really well written, by the way.
Oh well, thank you very much. I reread Kitchen Confidential for the first time, and since I brought it from you, I said that in the piece, and I just felt inspired to talk about him. But the thing with Tony was, Tony had found his home in the kitchen. He was supposed to be a line cook and work at Les Halle's, however the hell you say it. It's Le Hal. That's where he's supposed to work. Like, I mean, that was his career. He knew this life, and this is what he was built to do. And he did this for like, I want to say that he blew up in his 40s, I think, is when he really took off.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, so even the picture that I posted up, he's in the kitchen. He's like joking and laughing with like all the line cooks and all the people he talks about in the book, like from different countries that he's like, oh, they're like, you talk about that, you can cook some stuff. It's like, get in line with some Ecuadorians and blah, 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 blah. And then he got this opportunity and skyrocketed and took him all over the world. And he became this world-renowned figure and for being himself and stuff. And home never quite looked the same to him because he could never go home again. Could he have been like, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore and go back to being a cook or something. Yeah, he could have done that, but he had lived so much life already in that first life he had that there was no way that he was able to really ever take that step back if he ever wanted to just, he's like, I'm just going to go home and be with my daughter and, just kind of take it easy. Like, he was addicted to the travel and to the food and maybe a little bit to the celebrity of it and everything. And the people he met, like everybody, like, loved him, And also, I thought that was the bottle. I was like, damn, bro.
No.
Yeah, like, everybody loved him, and that's part of the reason why ultimately he probably struggled the way he did in his life. I mean, Asia Argento didn't help with any of that either. I don't know exactly. I just read speculation from what happened between them, like leading up to when he passed. But like, he went from this lifestyle where he was around people every day, and like he had his trusted second, like Steven and all this stuff, and these people he could rely on, and like he knew these people, and then all of a sudden he's the focal point, and he had his team of people he was with. But at the same time, like, everybody just wanted a piece of the Anthony Bourdain pie, and it probably just got to be too much for him, especially when he knew he couldn't ever go home again like that.
There's a lesson that I learned jointly from Anthony Bourdain and from you. It's really interesting. Yeah.
You hear that, folks?
Yeah. So I'm the type of person I'll get really, really caught up in my life. And then I get so busy that I think I don't have time to pursue my passions because you got to work, you got to take care of kids, you got to be a husband, you got to do all these things. And if there's not time to do it, I won't make time for it. Like, I just keep thinking I need this big block of time that I can do stuff. And so then things like, podcasts don't happen, songs don't get recorded, all these things happen.
Mm-hmm.
When you read Kitchen Confidential, you learn that before Anthony Bourdain was like a celebrity, but even after, he would work like these crazy shifts in the kitchen, right?
6 days a week.
Yeah, 6 days a week, working.
Roll out a bit of six, light a cigarette, and start meal prepping in his head before he would even take a piss.
Yeah. And then work an insane amount of hours until like, early in the morning.
Yeah.
And then go do so many drugs, right? Party
Young
like
Anthony
crazy.
Bourdain. Yes, absolutely.
But somehow, despite 20 hours of the day already elapsing, he would write every single day.
Yeah.
And it was because that was outside of travel, it was his passion, and
he's got books
he made time for that to happen.
Besides those, like,
no matter how
actual fiction books.
Yeah, no matter how busy he was always still writing. And you do the same thing, right? Like, I'm always like, how do you have time for hobbies? Like, you're a dad, you're like a boss at work, you're a husband, and I don't think that you're like letting any of those fail. And I'm like, I'm afraid to like play a video game. I'm like, sometimes I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it tonight. And I'm gonna turn on the video game, and then it's like updating like 2 more hours. I'm like, there it goes the whole night.
Right.
So like, I guess I'll just drink this rum and coke and just make my meal plan
for
the next day.
Right. It's interesting, and shout out to Angel, man, because especially Rasslecast. Rasslecast is normally every other Friday. So she knows 9 o'clock Friday is normally at Rasslecast. Like, that's going to happen. So I'll come downstairs and she'll take care of everything with Leah. That's not a problem. I've had to kind of, and I haven't taken advantage of it yet, but I keep telling myself, especially like the last 6 months, it's like, just tell Angel you're going to go downstairs and record a podcast tonight. Because I was just so determined I couldn't really do it in the morning, because if I did get up at, say, a 4, come out of the bathroom at 4:30, start recording 4:45. I'm concerned that if I get too into it or I'm a little too loud, Leah's right there, and if her sound machine's on, but if she hears me, then clearly she's going to wake up, and I don't want to wake her up that early. And then at night, I'm always like if I wait till she goes to sleep, Angel sometimes will pass out like around 9. I'm like, oh, I can totally do this between 9:30 and 10. Sometimes she'll be sitting up and I'll look at her like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. What are you doing? She's like, and she'll just be scrolling or whatever, or watching. Does Lisa do this thing where she watches TV and is on her phone at the same time?
No, not really.
Angel can watch TV and have her phone, and it's
No, I do
not
that
messed
too.
up. I can't do it.
I'm sitting there on IMDb the whole time, like, I wonder who that actor
I gotta
is.
put the phone down. Like, she will be scrolling and looking at different stuff, but everything's happening on the show.
Well, let me ask you this. So, right here next to me,
Yes,
is this picture that you have done in 2004 of Spider-Man.
yes.
How often do you draw now?
Never.
Isn't that crazy? Because I sit down, and my kids are always asking me to draw stuff. And I remember I wanted to be an artist for a long time growing up. I wanted to be an architect.
Mm-hmm.
That
was the plan for college.
Yeah, I found a comic book that I sold in elementary school. And then I was like, man, like, drawing was my life. Like, I get in trouble for drawing on all my homework at school, all the careers I wanted to do. And then someday I just thought, I'm not good at this anymore. I'm not good enough for it. And I just stopped. And then 20 years later, now my kids are like, oh yeah, draw me a truck. Draw me an octopus. Like, ooh, what else can we like throw at daddy for him to draw? And I think, man, what happens if I had not had like my spirit broken a little bit, but like if I made time for that, all of that time, maybe, yeah, it wouldn't have been like the career that I would have been. But if I would have made time and prioritized the things I was really passionate about, then maybe I would be a whole lot better. And like, I would not be drawing even at 2004 quality Kellen Conley Spider-Man here.
Well, I gotta say, guys, this is literally me copying Terry Dodson's artwork from like Marvel Knights Spider-Man #3, I think. So if any comic book fans can see this, like this is the cover of, and he's like leaping over some like thugs or something tonight. And I drew this at Teletech while I was on the phones, and I literally just looked at the comic book and copied it. So this is not my true artwork. My normal Spider-Man looks terrible, and it's looked the same way.
But even to replicate something.
Yeah, Aaliyah's super impressed with this. This is why it's out, because it was in that box of old high school stuff I had.
Yeah.
And she saw it. She's like, you had to hang that up. You didn't put it right there. I'm like, why? It's old and it's not even really mine. It's like I copied it. And she's like, yeah, but you didn't trace it. I was like, no, I didn't trace it. I just looked at it and copied it until I got it where it wanted to be. She's like, you didn't hang that up. And that's super. And she's like, shit, wouldn't showed Angel and everything. Like, did you see that they drew this? And of course, Angel's seen it. I drew it in 2004. But I mean, who knows, man? Like, I definitely didn't have the patience for that. But especially with the video and the podcast and stuff like that, a lot of that stuff, not the actual recording of the podcast, but the video editing. Once the video itself is done, especially with like recorded stuff like Hyphenation or Razzlecast, I'm able to walk downstairs, and I'm so good at editing. I can chop, throw this layer on there, render, go back upstairs, and then it's going to render for 3.5 hours because that's just the PC I'm on and stuff like that. So that stuff is easier for me. And music, I just have to be able to, if I can get the count in my head, I can write. The recording's a little bit more difficult, but again, I just have to be more aware of my times. And when and it's like, you know what, I go here and try to do this verse, and that's something I haven't been doing either. Because I wrote a bunch of stuff last year, and I just never really took time to record it. So that's something I'm trying to be more diligent about. But Angel helps a ton again, because she's always been real lenient with the podcast stuff. So if I say, hey, I want to, like multiple times last week, I'm like, I'm gonna go downstairs and record when she goes to bed. She's like, okay. And then I'll come upstairs and get in bed. She's like, I thought you were gonna record. I was like, yep, me too. Me too. But I need to sit here and watch this episode of Love Is Blind till I fall asleep. So that's what's going to happen.
Well, respect to her for enabling you to keep doing that.
Yeah.
But even when I think about just how far all of the podcast capability you have has grown, all of the things that you do has like matured like over the years, there's really something for staying committed to the things that make you happy. Because you don't want to end up like me, where you're like almost 40 and you're like, what made me happy again? And like, that doesn't, I don't mean to say like I have regrets, but like as
you've just been so focused on everything
else. You
get
like so focused on things, you might get what you want there, but then you're like, okay, now that I got that,
what do I do with
what do I do with this now? And it's a good problem to have, and you can go off and explore other things, but then you're like, okay, what am I going to do next? You're like, oh man, I have no idea. But I love people that really, really stay connected to their passion.
Yeah.
And Anthony Bourdain did that really well. I've told you many times over the years, I love that how you don't care. Like you like lay down a 16-bar verse, and you're like, I don't care if no one listens to it whatsoever. Like,
it took a long time for me to get there. I
love that. Like I absolutely love that. Like, think about every famous painter that was never famous in their time until after they died, and then they're like
Van Gogh.
Bigger than life.
Yeah, Van Gogh barely started blowing up when he killed himself.
But can you imagine that? Like,
no.
Like, something that you worked on will be the greatest thing ever. Like, you would be considered a master, but you won't have a single second to be able to appreciate that. Me, I'll be like, well, this isn't working out because day 2, I don't have a paycheck from it. Like, you know what I'm saying?
There's no money here.
But it's
cold and lonely.
It's fascinating. So, like, I don't know how that comes full circle, but there's a lot of perspective from even just like doing a podcast for like, I don't even know how long we've been doing a podcast, but Hip Hop Manifesto was a long time ago.
Yeah, we started Hip Hop Manifesto in 2007. I think the first episode, the Fat Boys episode, came out in 2007. And then our best year was like 2008. My favorite episode we did, well, there's 2 favorite episodes. The Rock the Bells episode was a lot of fun. And then also when we did the hip hop awards and we gave out awards and stuff, that one was was a lot of fun too. So those were my favorite. The last 2 weren't my favorite because I was like, oh, we're recording over Skype. This is so weird. And now I literally do that every single.
That wasn't the norm back then.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like you could talk on Skype.
Well, we did like 3 episodes just about how crazy Kanye was.
It wasn't quite that, but yeah,
it was Kanye multiple episoes.
Yes, because he kept doing stuff.
Yes,
and then the last episode was literally us listing everything up to that point, and that was 2013. It might have been recorded in 2012, so that was everything up to 2012.
I don't want to say it was brave to say that back then, but I don't feel like we like anyone else understood just how bad that was at the time. To the point that if you were already thinking that man had lost his mind at that point, you were just like, I guess I'll just buckle up now. It's going to be a crazy ride for the next couple of years.
God, like, no. I mean, even then, I never expected him to be.
Did he get married the other day? I thought I saw that.
Not that I heard. But okay,
I was even saying. I have no idea anymore.
I was even saying when I recorded the last episode how now he's laying low after everything he said, and he does this. It's his cyclical thing.
Yeah.
Where he'll go real ape shit for a while, and then all of a sudden you don't hear nothing, and then he's like, "I got new music coming out," blah blah blah. And I feel like that's what's going to happen. Also, I guess he's running for office again in 2024. So good luck with that, Omari. Yeah, like this is just what he does. Because I know what triggered it. Because I was talking about Drake putting his little bars out about Meg and about Serena on the album and stuff.
Yeah,
and I was like, he literally said that stuff just to get more people to listen to stream now. That's the only reason.
Absolutely.
I was like, I don't even think he believes any of that stuff. Like we know Aubrey Graham. We know how he feels about women. He loves women. Yeah. He loves Serena. He loves Meg. If Meg hit him up and said, "Hey, I'm coming through," he'd be like, "Come through." he'll be like, Adonis, you're going to your mom's. Meg, come through. He'll like, come through. Come through. Ooh. Drizzy.
He's listening to this like, I'm going to give him $250,000, sign the OVO just so I can just get on that.
Yeah. He's like, hey, can you give me a reference hook? And then I'm going to accidentally leak it to Meek Mill, and we can have a battle here. We're going to do it all again. All right, Drake.
Well, while we're talking about that, back then I know we used to talk about J. Cole quite a bit. I sent you a thing the other day about how J. Cole was feeling kind of uninspired, and then
I didn't look at that.
Well, let me tell you the story because it only takes like 5 seconds.
Okay.
J. Cole was feeling really uninspired and couldn't get motivated to like write anything, so he went on YouTube and he just typed J. Cole type beat, and he loved it. And he like wrote to it and then posted, like he was going to hold on to it and just keep it in the vault. But instead, he posted it on the YouTube of the dude that made the beat. He was like, "This is for you. I'm not going to keep this in the vault." He's like, "Thanks a lot for just grinding and making all these beats
really
for rappers like me to listen to." And it was just like, I hope this inspires other people. Like I was feeling like really uninspired and then did that. And I was like, who would do that? But that is so awesome.
On his last album he put out, I don't remember the title. It came out like 2 years ago. Timbaland played a random beat on stream. like on his Switch channel. He does the beat club stuff. He played a random beat, and he maybe had it on for like 90 seconds or so, and Tim didn't like it, so he switched to something else. Cole hit him up like sometime later. It's like, hey, I want this that you were playing right here in this clip, and Tim's like, I didn't even save that. He's like, I was just messing around and I didn't like it, so Tim had to go back and remake the beat for him.
Wow.
Yeah, and then send it to him, and everybody heard it like, oh, that beat's nuts, blah 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 blah. Tim's like, I didn't even like it, but he liked it. So I went and recreated it, but I hadn't saved anything for that. I was just messing around on the stream. But that's not surprising for me, because one of the big inspirations that as far as me doing the TikTok duets and everything, and really, I have a song out. It's called Since SYU. It's all about how I got back in the groove of rapping again for real, and the big part of that is TikTok. Cole put out that last album, and Cole literally even said, he's like, these are just practice shots. He's like, this isn't even, I don't even consider this a real album. Like, essentially, if it could be a mixtape, it would be a mixtape. But he just went out and just put his hottest fire bars on all those tracks, and he's just like spitting the hardest I ever heard him spit. And like, I know all he's doing is practicing. And I was like, my man really just took these beats and then he just practiced them all. And he's like, I'll be back, because he's got like the fall off and then whatever he's going to do to round out his career. I mean, Cole, I could see actually quitting though. Cole, if anybody ever quits and really retires and doesn't come back and does an actual album, like I can see him doing features, but if he never comes back, I can see it. But I was like, man, like that's what I need to be using these TikToks for. Like, I really need to kind of pick things that really stand out to me, and not do it trying to get people to watch TikTok, because you're not going to get. It's really difficult from doing duets to go viral and get real popular on TikTok, musically, because I could sit here and react to food stuff every single day and just keep doing it long enough. Eventually, I'm gonna build up an audience who's gonna watch me. It wouldn't be massive because there's so many of them, but it's something that can work as a duet. But there's a guy named It's Biscuits on TikTok before. I think you've seen him before, and my guy can rap for days, and he just sits there and he duets everybody, and he has some of his original stuff on there, and he has flows for everything. But he gets decent stuff because he's been doing it so long. He gets decent views and stuff, decent likes, but he's not really blowing up like that because the TikTok algorithm works against those kind of posts, because their original posts, especially music, and it's like, if it's not really blowing up like a specific one thing, then the algorithm is kind of designed to not feed that to everybody, where people's going to see people rapping all the time.
Right.
So that's when I was like, I just really got to take this and make it my own kind of training regiment.
So you're just practicing.
So that's all I was doing.
So we talking about practice.
We talking about practice. 4 million.
You're a franchise player. And we here talking about practice.
Shout out to AI, man. That's my favorite NBA player of all time.
Definitely. Although sometimes I'm surprised to hear that, because you've been an MJ fan for like as long as I know.
I love MJ, and I don't
see the AI posters on your wall.
I don't have any AI posters, but also this is a gift, so that's why the free throw line is there. Jordan and everything he accomplished, especially with my high school years, middle school years, was amazing. I can't take anything away from him. I love the whole mystique that goes with him. But you want to talk about somebody who, despite not being as easy to work with as possible, we all know Jordan wasn't easy to work with. You can read Pippen's book about that. But to Iverson just he put it all out there, man. Like every time he's on the court, even like people give him crap about that practice thing, but the practice snippet that came from, where everybody like, talk about practice, everybody like, that's so funny. Like he was actually talking about like the whole press conference, like 38 minutes, and he's talking about like his friend getting shot or dying or something like that, and all the other things he's going through, and that's like just a small snippet, and that's what ESPN chose to run, and everybody's like, oh, it's so fun, and it just became a thing over the years. But he was literally talking about, he said, this is my life, and he was being dead ass. And so there's never been a more real player to me. Like Jordan found different ways to get himself hyped up and competitive, and LeBron has obviously exceeded everyone's expectations for longevity in a career and still playing as elite as he does at his age. And that's incredible to see. And LeBron, I do say, is the greatest player of all time with Jordan right behind him. But my favorite NBA player ever is Allen Iverson, man, because that little dude went out there, and he's taller than me. That guy went out there, and no matter what, man, he was trying to do the best he could. And he's the only guy to beat the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers. The only team to beat them that whole postseason, it was them in Game 1 of the finals. Like, when they went up 1-0, I was like, yo, I can't believe this. Who I never thought we'd see. I'm like, never thought. I was like, I didn't think they'd come in and take Game 1. I thought it was going to be a straight sweep. And that night, AI said no, and then Phil said, let me adjust some things. And then that's why they got the gentleman's sweep after that. But after seeing the step over and everything there, like, there's no denying the swagger, the cornrows. The hair is still inspired by AI, man. Like, I just love that guy, man. Like, if somebody said, hey, you have your choice between meeting Jay-Z or Allen Iverson, I'm saying AI. And I can't believe I'm saying I'll be like, I want to meet AI. Like, can I get Jay-Z on the phone call, though? Also, Elliot, if you're listening, get Jay-Z, just have Jay text me. Just be like, happy birthday. I know you listen to the podcast, Elliot.
Just like Sheik did.
Styles. It was Styles.
Oh, Styles. Sorry.
Shout out to the whole Hyphen podcast group outside the juice bar. Shout out to the lots, man.
Yeah. So should we wrap it up?
Why?
We could go forever.
Why? I mean,
what's 7 hours of a podcast, really?
That's 7 episodes for me. I'm all up in the mic now. You can tell I'm getting drunk. I'm like,
with AI, the most beautiful thing to me is I don't know that I ever saw another player bring their personality as much into their play.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you watch them play, and I feel like I know Allen Iverson just from watching him play.
Yeah.
Like, the man was willing to die on that court.
Larry Bird.
Okay, yeah.
Larry Bird. And I didn't find out any of this. When we were young, I didn't know Larry Bird was like this. But Larry Bird was an asshole on that basketball court. He could back it up. He would. I mean, my man played a whole game left-handed. Like, there's videos out there, guys. I'm not making this up. Play a whole game left-handed. Kevin McHale took the Celtics scoring record and had like the franchise high, and everybody's like congratulating Kevin McHale on a great game, everything like that. Larry Bird goes up to him like, enjoy it while it lasts. Like 2 weeks later, broke it.
You know, I said that, but I think Kobe's play really reflected him too.
Black Mamba Kobe.
Yeah.
Like when he really embraced Black Mamba, because I don't feel like he was ever fully himself with Shaq, because he needed to be a certain way for that to work.
Yeah.
And then that's one of the reasons why Phil was able to come. Well, Phil decided to come back, because despite their differences after they first parted and stuff, Kobe realized he really did like playing with Phil. But then after Colorado, and then after he got to the point where he's like, trade me, and then they didn't trade him, that's when the Mamba was born, and that's when he was really like, yeah.
But like he was like an asshole on the court, but like he was still really good.
Yeah.
But he was smooth and composed, and I mean, because that's just the way like he was.
Mm-hmm.
But he was also incredibly hardworking, and you knew that. Like, you could only get to that point with that shot by practicing those shots over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And
he learned it from MJ, man.
Yeah.
You seen the videos of how many of MJ's moves that he learned and literally could mirror, like down to like everything. It's crazy to watch the comparison side by side.
Oh man,
it's super crazy. But we can wrap this up. But we have to do something fun. We've been all over the place.
Okay.
And I mean, I don't even know what the hell I'm gonna put in the show description. But let's do some questions, and you just give me the first thing that comes to mind.
Oh shit. Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
All right. So let's go ahead and lead off with John Havlicek. No, I'm playing. Since we're talking about ballers, are you a Warriors fan?
I'm a Warriors fan.
Okay, so you are a Warriors
fan. Yes, I'm a Warriors fan.
Okay. Do you like Klay Thompson?
Man, why would you do that to me? He's not my favorite player on the team.
I know that. Steph is your favorite player. But there's times I feel like you could, if they got rid of Clay,
Yeah.
you feel like you'd be okay.
He is like my fourth favorite player on the team.
So you don't think he's as detrimental as
I think that the Warriors could get rid of Clay and Draymond and be a much better team.
Okay.
But I respect him a whole lot, and I would draft him into my team. I wouldn't build a team around him. I think, but like, man, and I'm only saying this, I mean, out of all due respect to Klay Thompson, that the Warriors are just in that position where they got young guys that could all be big name stars with like the right mentoring. And so like if I was a businessman for basketball, I'm not betting on Klay Thompson. I'm betting on like Jordan Poole and stuff like that.
Which makes sense. Bet on the
Kuminga and Wiseman and all that.
I just feel like you sleep on
Oh, I do. Yeah, I'm a hater.
I mean, never in my fandom of the Bulls did I look at like how we have Judd Butler come off the bench. I mean, it was Judd Butler, man. But at the same time, when Judd Butler was hitting a couple threes and taking the charge and giving MJ some rest or Ron Harper some rest, it made sense.
But if you compare it to those Bulls teams, it's not like you're saying, "Are you a Scottie Pippen fan?" You're like, "Are you a Steve Kerr fan?" You know what I mean? Like, and I mean, yeah, okay, on that team, he's the number 2. He is the Scottie Pippen. But based on, I mean, the Warriors are a different team. So they're all Steve Kerrs, but on steroids. Like, it's that sort of thing.
Favorite MCU film?
Ooh, Black Panther.
Okay.
Easy. I cried during Black Panther.
I did too.
Multiple. I cried in the opening scenes of Black Panther. I wasn't crying like
First viewing.
Okay, you know that scene where they're going into Wakanda?
Yes.
And you start seeing Wakanda.
Oh, you mean when we're home, my king?
So yeah, they're coming in.
In.
Yeah, they're flying in. You start seeing like
that's
buildings and stuff.
Scene, but I know what you're trying to say.
All the architecture and stuff that's there. It reminded me of all my architecture classes and all the like historic African buildings or like historic African architecture that existed forever. And you see how this was like Pan-African in here. And it was like the first time I ever saw something like that on TV. I didn't even need to be black to appreciate that. I was just like, this is a beautiful thing. Like this stuff should have been in media forever. And it made me think about like black futurism and things like that. Like things that are just like, it was just stunning to see that all come together and to have that be in all things like the Marvel universe.
I know.
You know, is like everyone is going to see. And I was like, it's finally happened. It was like when like Barack Obama got elected president. Like you just have so much hope for the world.
Similar feelings. Yes.
It was that for me. I was crying like a little kid, a little baby.
Yeah, that's dope. All right. Favorite dish that you could have right now? Anything?
Ooh, man, that is tough. Oh, oh my God! Just off the top of my head, Dai Fuku Mochi.
And what is this?
It's just a little snack. It's Japanese and it's like pounded rice with like powdered sugar on top, and there's like a sweet bean in the middle, but it's more like a mochi thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little Japanese dessert. There are a million things I like, but those things, they hit the right spot.
What meal have you had since you've been back that just hit the spot? That you're like, yes, this is exactly what I wanted to be.
Okay. I went to the Grind and had a Dagwood and
shout out to the Grind.
An iced chai latte and just sat around looking at people. Did some people watching.
Mm-hmm.
And that's tied with getting a Tudor's Mary B biscuit. Just like enjoying all of its greasy bacon and cheese and egg all together.
Yes. Shout out to Tudor's. Favorite book that you read to the kids?
Read to the kids.
Or have read to the kids. I know Sid's still around that age. Bella's obviously.
There's 3 books that are kind of like a trilogy. It's like, what would you do with a problem? What would you do with an idea? And I think like, what would you do with an opportunity? And it's written by this Japanese author. And I think every adult needs to read these books because it's really about the emotions of like, what do you do in those situations?
Mm-hmm.
And I was never taught that stuff. And it just says like, you can't be scared of trying. You can't be, you got to go for opportunities or make your own opportunities. But it's in like a really beautiful, well-crafted story. And those are like, one of those 3 books is what I give to like tons of like little kids' birthdays. Like I'm just buying that book and giving it to them.
Constantly buying it.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn,
Did I give them to you already? I mean,
no, I have not gotten these, but that's still very cool. Favorite childhood film that you still enjoy today?
So many of them have not aged well at all. And I haven't seen this movie in a long time, so I'm afraid that it hasn't aged well. But have you ever seen The Last Starfighter?
No, never watched that.
This is like the formula that basically Harry Potter and every other thing follows.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's this guy, from what I can remember, he goes to an arcade machine. He gets like a high score on the arcade machine. And then these aliens come down and say, hey, you were really good at this. We need you to help us defend our kingdom. And suddenly he's taken to a whole nother world to like go be like a starfighter, like to like fly around on like a ship and like to save them. And it was so fantastical, but it was one of those things of escapism versus like you have some greater value that just one day just shows up and it's like, oh, okay, take me away, and suddenly I'm like king of some other place.
Right.
Like you have some special inherent value, and that's just going to appear one day when everything else is bad.
Damn.
Made me wish that like Harry Potter was around when I was like my daughter's age.
Yeah. Still have not watched more than the second movie.
Man, did I tell you what I got her for her birthday?
What you get her?
These dope these candles that float from they look like they're floating from the ceiling. It's really like fishing line or something where they dangle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this wand with a battery in it, and you can light the candles that look like they're floating. So it's like the Great Hall at Hogwarts.
Yeah.
She's gonna lose her mind. Like she's such a Harry Potter fanatic.
Yeah, she's turning 8 here.
And she's got like 20 of them that are gonna be there, and then she's gonna be able to just use this wand to light her room up all the time. I can't wait to give them to her.
Nice. Favorite Adult Swim show ever?
So was Samurai what?
Samurai Jack?
No. It had like a hip hop soundtrack that I think RZA produced.
You talking about
Champloo? Was it
the one with Samuel Jackson?
No. RZA did the soundtrack, and it was like this.
About the podcast 101, guys. Here it is.
Anyway, if it's not that, like there was this really really dope thing, where it had all this hip hop beats behind it, and it was this sort of Japanese samurai sort of story with some really really cool animation. I think that was Adult Swim.
I know what you're talking about.
If it wasn't, I had a huge run of Aqua Teen Hunger Force back in the day, and I have no idea why. Because I look back and watch it like this is not
Afro
funny.
Samurai?
Afro Samurai.
Okay.
That's it. Was that on Adult Swim?
That.
If it's not, it should have been.
What channel was that? It was Adult Swim.
You need to see that. And if it wasn't RZA, it was like
no, it was. That's why I googled. I googled RZA and yeah, okay.
That was incredible. It had the best soundtrack. You could probably like make a whole mixtape just off of beats that were on that show.
I believe it.
And I won't say that. I was gonna say I'll say it anyway. It'd probably be better than a lot of the Wu-Tang albums. Later Wu-Tang albums.
Favorite Method Man song?
All I Need with Mary J. Blige.
How come in Meth, I'm sorry, aside from his Meth Lab series that he's doing now, which I do enjoy, how come Meth was never able to really create that perfect album in your opinion? Unless you think Tikal is it.
No, I think it was the strife with their deal. You ever hear about their deal?
Remind me.
Some people said that this is the reason why it was going to fail from the start. So they had this deal. It was really tough to get, like 10 people or whatever signed to one deal.
Right.
But still protect their future interests. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so some of them got big deals, and then some of them didn't as solo artists.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to share all the revenue from their personal projects back to the group.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Oh.
So can you imagine being, I don't know, Capadonna?
Never was a Cap fan.
And then, like, say Method Man gets like 2 platinum singles, and he's got to go back and then share all of that with 9 other people that had nothing to do with it, and it's equal. Like, there's going to be some strife. At least that's what I've always heard. And then I heard that they tried to renegotiate that later on or something. I think this is true. I always wanted to know the truth. Where then it was like a tiered structure where some people got more than other people.
Yeah.
So like, can you imagine them being like You God, where like you had like an album but it didn't really do anything, and now you're just like relegated down like really far down there? Or worse, if you're somebody like Inspector Deck, who was incredible, had all this talent, and like was a fundamental part of like what Wu-Tang is, but maybe didn't have a long career like Method Man did. I don't think anyone in the world is going to say that Method Man is a better rapper than Inspector Deck. Well, some people will. Not.
I would.
You would? What?
I would.
Okay, to me, Inspector Deck is way more talented, but he didn't have like hits like that, right? So
right. And for me, it's with Meth. I know it's more than just the lyrics. If we're literally saying lyrics versus lyrics, then I could see where Deck would be better.
And so I think there was just too much tension of having a group that big in deals like that to ever truly maximize their potential, because you have so many tensions pulling that one way or another.
All right. I just have one and now I lost it. So, this is obviously going to be edited. Favorite Sports Center memory? Because me and you used to always look at Sports Center before we came to school, and we talk about what we watched on Sports Center. So it can be a highlight, it can be something that an anchor said, there just something that sticks out, and be like if somebody says Sports Center, and you're like, this is what comes to mind.
I remember a couple of things. So one, and I'm sorry, I'm so bad with names. Well, what was the guy that died of cancer?
That was Stewart.
So Stuart Scott?
Yes.
Stuart Scott, and what was the white dude? That
Rich Eisen.
Rich Eisen.
Yes.
They would have the most hilarious banter.
Yes, they would.
But they would also talk about stuff like when they were like, boom shakalaka. It was like basically all the NBA Jam stuff, but like before it was an NBA Jam. It was just them.
Well, they were like a little bit after me.
But you know,
NBA Jam was like 90.
But it was always just like having fun.
Yeah.
And just talking about sports.
They were great.
Like you and I would if like nobody was listening. Or if I was like acting like I was commentating on you playing a video game. And so it was so hilarious, but their chemistry was really good. And so I always think back to them too. And I think back to was it Chris Berman?
Berman, yeah.
Because he was just like so explosive when he was talking. You just think he was going to have like a heart attack. Yeah. But I just love that. And I loved listening to commentary then, because it was before it was really talking heads.
Yes.
It was somebody just being like, all this crazy stuff happened in the NBA, and like, look at this, and it's just like, bam! And it's just like this intense clip. And
they covered everything.
They did, and I felt like, so informed.
Meanwhile, over in F1, like, this is the race that happened, and they'd only have that clip on for 30 seconds. But they would nail it.
But they would tell you a ton about what's going on, but they wouldn't even just talk about it from a little interesting 30-second clip, but they would also tell you about the sport, why that's relevant. And they just squeeze that in there somehow. Yeah. And I love that. And ESPN was never the same after those three.
It kind of wasn't. Essentially, once Stephen A. got in there, is kind of when things started changing. And it wasn't no shade to Stephen A. I mean, I know he gets paid to do what he does. But when ESPN started seeing that they could get people viewing on people like Stephen A. and then when they first came out, First Take and everything, and then back and forth happened.
Around the Horn and all those things.
Yeah. I enjoy Around the Horn because that reminds me more of like because it's like a game show kind of, like they're trying to get their, it's all scored and everything, even though points don't matter and things like that. Okay. 2 more questions.
Okay.
Your favorite memory, 3 questions.
Ooh.
Favorite memory you've had with Lisa? if you say the wedding, that's makes sense. But I feel like there's something.
That's tough. My wife and I have been together since 2005.
2005. I said it with conviction, and you had the question.
No, that's dating. Like, we've been married since 2011.
Yes, but you've been together since 2005.
We've been through so much stuff. If I had to pick like one particular memory, we went to Mexico, and it was the most awesome trip because we spontaneously went to Mexico.
I'm going to Mexico.
And like, I always wanted to be able to spontaneously travel the world.
Yeah.
And then I suddenly could. And like, she always worked so much as like a med student or a resident or a doctor that for us to just be able to do anything spontaneously was just not happening. Like, it was just was not our life. To just be able to be like, man, this winter sucked. Like, we're in Wisconsin, in like the worst place to be during winter. And we were stressed out with like work and stuff. And like, hey, let's travel. I'm like, hey, you want to go to Mexico like this weekend or like next weekend?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay. Bought the tickets in like 20 minutes, like, of having that idea. And we did it. And then we went there, and there was just so many little things that happened. And it was awesome. And we just decided to just get on a bus and just get off a couple stops later and just walk around and just see what happened. And we just like went shopping and we bought food and stuff. And the reason that I think so much about that is because we took a different vacation with our kids recently, and we did all these things that should be the memories, but instead my greatest memory of that vacation was we came back to our hotel room, and the four of us, my wife and I and our two kids, snuggled up on the couch, and we were eating jelly beans and watching like David Attenborough movies and just like laughing the whole time. And the reason I bring that up is because we were talking a whole lot about like favorite memories and vacations and stuff. And it's like we needed that entire vacation to happen just to like make everything just right for us to like rest and relax and just be happy together, to sit down there exhausted on this like fold out like bed in this little hotel room, to just have that moment. Like, that moment couldn't have happened without all the touristy stuff that we did throughout the day that maybe the kids don't remember.
Right.
And it's kind of like that with Mexico, where all of those things happen. Maybe any other time that wouldn't have been a special memory to me, just walking around random Mexican streets and like eating like a coconut that some guy pulls out of a cooler and cuts off the top with a machete and sticks a straw, and you're like, this is the best drink I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Or like my wife going into like the middle of like a market and being like, trying to get me like a hat because she's really serious about skincare, and being like, no, my husband is a sombrero, cabeza muy grande, and then just having like 200
like big fucking head
Mexican ladies putting on all sorts of ridiculous hats on me, like I was playing like a really long game of like Team Fortress 2 or something. It was just ridiculous, but it was just all these like little things that happened because they could finally happen. Like, that was the thing.
I'd have to say,
I'm glad you're going to Mexico, by the way.
Yeah, we're going to apply to Comrade. Yeah, really excited. I'd have to say that out of our Jamaica trip, the two things that stand out is when we found that little gift in the bushes, and then we went to the Japanese restaurant later that night. That was a good night. And then also when we got the cabana on the beach, which Angel took the picture that I used for the album cover because I was out in the ocean, and she took it from there. Just us hanging out in that cabana. I definitely remember that because it was just us, and we're married now, and we're on this beautiful place, and it was just an amazing time. So that's one of the things stand up. And then also there's multiple times that Aaliyah will be upset. She don't want me. She wants Angel. And Angel's able to be mom and calm her down and give her a piece that I'm unable to do. Which reminds me of my mom. So every time she's able to do that, especially when it's like if I didn't cause it, which I usually don't. Like, sometimes it's my fault, man. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I messed up. But that her being able to see her be Aaliyah's mom and then remind me of my moms and stuff, it's a really beautiful thing.
Oh, nice. Did you have two more, I think?
I don't know. I might have 15 more. I don't want you to ever leave me.
Okay.
Favorite video game experience, or just straight up, this is my favorite game. Like if not no Desert Island stuff, but like playing this game was like, wow.
I've wasted so much of my life playing video games.
All right, see, now I don't agree with that.
No, not wasted.
I know what you're trying to say.
I had like
we played those games with purpose.
No, so like I moved to Pittsburgh, and then I ended up having roommates. We won't talk about the roommates, but like
we don't talk about Bruno. No.
I have roommates that also worked in IT with me. We worked in the same place.
I kidnapped them.
So we work all day.
Like, hey, you're coming.
We play video games at work because our boss was like that, and then we would go home and be like, "What do you want to do?" I don't know. Let's play video games till 2:00 in the morning. Fast forward after 3 years, I'd be like, "What did you do for the past 3 years?" Well, I played a lot of these games. Like that's all I had to show for it, and I don't feel like it was really like lost time because I did sort out a lot of stuff in my life then. But it's a lot of time playing games.
Yeah.
To not be pro.
Not be again, if it don't make money, and Matthew Spencer don't want any parts of it.
There's so many games that I really like, but the ones like if I had to think of just favorite things, it was probably like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, like those two, because I got so sucked in, and they were the first RPGs that I played where you're like, yeah, you're gonna put in 40 or 50 hours in this game, and then I would just grind, but not mind the grind because I had nothing else to do. And we're like, oh, I gotta get all the GPs or whatever, the Guardian Forces or whatever they were called.
Yeah. And
I just loved it. And it was the first game that I saw somebody had the strategy guides.
Strategy guide, yeah.
And I was like, oh my god, like, well, what is this? And then I'd go back and play it all again. Like, why did I need to play this 50-hour game like all over again? But then where like the story really surprised me, and like where I really got sucked into it. So I'd like try to download them again to the Steam Deck, and then they weren't supported. And I was like, "It's probably for the better." Like, I don't need to be doing this again.
Did they make the remake for PC?
Oh yeah. I thought about buying that the other day, but
you should. I've heard it's good. You should play it.
Yeah.
I don't PC game, and I just haven't. My genres, man. Like I might mess around a little Final Fantasy, but I was always a Chrono Trigger guy. So I'm one of those elitists who are like, well, actually, Chrono Trigger's the best RPG of all time. It's so good that they only remaster it and they've never made anything since. It's that good.
Have you ever thought about a career as a club doorman?
Actually, I am looking for a change of pace.
No, you cannot.
Shh, be quiet, Apple phone. Gosh, I'm talking. If not my favorite, one of my top 5 video game experiences would be beating X-Men Legends 1 with you and Josh and Andy and Jamie.
That was
with the multi-tap.
Yes.
With the multi-tap and how many hours we put in and how many times we die. Like, health up! Get the health! Get the health! You use the focus!
So, man, that was a great memory because that was the first game that I played cooperative with that many people.
Yeah, on the same room and everything.
I loved it. And then that actually, because of that, I played Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 with my wife for a lot. Like, we played a ton of that together. And then, like, if I had to think about, I mean, really, probably what's a better memory, even than playing, like, Final Fantasy, is the many hours of just playing, like, Mario Kart with you.
Oh, Mario Kart, NBA Street. I think NBA Street's in here right now.
Oh, my God. Like,
if you feel like staying up all night,
it's one of those things that we continue to quote. Like if I said Montrose, like, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Because we would play that.
That was NBA Live 98.
At the end of my bachelor party, like when the whole night was over, we still...
And we played NBA Jam, NBA Jam Wii.
I think we played some Mario Kart too that night.
Yeah, because Lorenzo beat our... Lorenzo did beat us a couple times. I was mad because I swore we were so nice. Lorenzo was like, look at this guy. I'm like, fuck you, Lorenzo. I was not happy.
There have been multiple times in the past 2 weeks that I've been here where little kids have said to me, they're like, oh, like I got my Switch, and they're like, oh yeah, I'll play Mario Kart. I'm like, you do not want to challenge me to Mario Kart, little kid.
I told Steve on Polo, he's talking about Deuce playing. They got him a Switch, and he was playing Mario Kart Switch. I was like, you need to get him on the Wii, and then you need to give him to me.
Yeah.
You need to let him see the real pro. And this is without drifting, folks. So if anybody can drift, I'm screwed because I never learned how to drift.
Really? I thought you eventually got it.
Not on Wii. I didn't need to. It was just too nice.
Okay.
It's too nice, man.
Well, I'm telling you, man, you play that on Switch, it's like a whole different dimension to it now.
Oh, I found out.
Yeah.
I found out. I fucked around and found out. Because what happened, BJ and Ivy had a Mario Kart tourney, like 19, something like that. Summertime, we went over there, and they had the projection up on their garage and everything. And there's this girl, this neighbor girl, and she whooped me. Because I think the first race, I was like second or third, I was like, all right, I can hang in there. And then I saw her, and she's like, I'm like, yeah, this ain't happening for me tonight. She's like, eyes closed, talking, hitting all the power-ups and everything. Man.
Did you play anything with Aaliyah?
We messed around and played only Mario Party. I've tried to get her to have, I'm like Mario, I've showed her some Mario stuff and everything. She does like Mario Party 8 on Wii. She enjoys that a lot, even though I'm Mario Party King on there too. So I handle my business there.
So if I was doing like Rosebud, Thorn, or whatever,
yeah,
my daughter and I play Minecraft together a lot, and it's beautiful. But it's about to turn into something way more serious because I pre-ordered Hogwarts Legacy or whatever, and we both have been collectively excited for a game that hasn't happened yet because we're going to play it together. And it's cool because that's like way more serious than like how many sheep have you bred in like Minecraft, right? And so I hope it goes well. Sometimes we can't even really play survival on Minecraft without her like getting really nervous. No. But it's cool like having something else to bond with her over. Like, and so I'm super excited about the game more because of what I'm going to do with her with it than than the game itself, which is really nice. Yeah, it's like the first time I pre-ordered the game and. Well, maybe ever. I don't even remember the last time I did that.
Yeah, like I told you, last time I did it was X-Men Legends 2 because I was thinking we were going to do the same thing with that, and I ended up playing it with myself. Jamie played it a little bit, but then otherwise our schedules just couldn't coordinate like that, where we could all play it together like that summer when we did X-Men Legends 1. Last question.
Okay. Any
words of wisdom that you would like to leave anybody who hears the sound of your voice right now? For Matthew Michael Spencer in 2023.
So there's
as I've been 40 for 31 whole ass minutes. By the way.
I think that. So I'm looking at my phone because I think this brings it all full circle for the things we talked about and the people we talked about. Anthony Bourdain said, "If I'm an advocate for anything, it's to move as far as you can, as much as you can." And he goes on, and it's actually even more profound after that. But I couldn't fit it in my Facebook bio at the time.
Damn you,
to be able to remember the rest of it. But I remember when I said I was going to move to New Zealand, a lot of people were like, "Huh, I never thought about moving. You can do that?" Like, the amount of people that said that to me, like,
go to another country.
Yeah, but
like what?
It was weird. What? The amount of people that said to me that they never even thought about it until I did it because I didn't really know anybody that was born here in the great United States that'd be willing to just say, I'm going to go someplace else.
Yeah, who leaves here?
And so. But what I loved about that, and I've loved it even since before I moved, because I've moved a lot, like you were saying, it's incredible how eye-opening that can be. Like when you look at, like, say, racist people that are in the middle of nowhere and never met anybody.
Racist.
Yeah, but when you think about they've never even met somebody, it's easy to be like, all these other people very different to me that I've never met. You can talk shit about people that you've never met, and then you meet them and you're like, oh man, I was wrong. And when you just get around and get out and see things and get cool with just being uncomfortable and just seeing different stuff, it opens your eyes and it's kind of addictive, but it's like, oh man, what else have I been sheltered about, or what else have I been ignorant about? Yeah. What else is really cool? And it's like, it's kind of like this high that you just keep trying to like challenge, but throwing yourself into that, especially even like going abroad for a while, or just like, hey, like leave the resort when you go to a place, or like
I'm already having that discussion because last time when we were on honeymoon, we went on excursions like almost all the time. It's like we were off the resort too much, and now she's like, "What do you want to do?" And I was like, "Be on the resort."
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do love those sorts of vacations, all the same.
Yeah.
But like, just doing anything that is you're uncomfortable about. There's so many things I still hold off on because I'm really scared of doing it. There've been a lot of major moves in my life that like I just completely gave up on things because I was scared of what happened if I failed or would need a lot of time and energy that I was afraid to give. And moving was easy because I felt like I had to go. But there are a lot of things that I gave up on that I wish I didn't. And I keep trying to tell my kids to not be afraid to really commit themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, how many people have you met in your life that had dreams and aspirations and ambitions but still didn't do anything with it? And then you see them and they're like,
yeah, that's always been crazy.
40 plus years old, still talking about that thing that they didn't even take a single baby step to.
That second album that he's been trying to do all this time. So, I know what you mean.
And I don't want to judge those people. Like, if you read this book, The Alchemist, by, was it Paulo, I can't even remember the name off the top of my head. It's one of the most read books of all time. There's a guy in there, this Muslim guy, who wants to go on his Hajj, but he doesn't do it, and eventually he gets the chance to go, and he still doesn't do it, and he's like, he was more in love with the idea of going than actually going. Like, and you meet a lot of people and you're like, okay, that's the thing, and you can respect that. You don't want to take away people's only dream, because then you're like, I was talking about me earlier. Then you're like, all right, what do I do next? Damn. But at the same time, if you really have like a hope and dream, if you don't even take any steps to it, like, it's never going to happen. That's a surefire way that it's never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
The things that I've really committed myself to, even if it didn't work out, I still learned a whole lot from it. I'm really, really glad I did it. And I don't have any regrets for the things like those shots that you didn't take sort of thing. But I did learn a whole lot moving forward to not do that again. Like, I guess if it was a regret, it's a regret that I've learned to live with.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jay-Z. So I guess that's it. Like, not everybody can get up and move across the world, but there's so much that you can do to just open up your perspective to stuff, and it changes everything. It changes how your entire outlook on life, how you look at yourself, how you look at everything else, and it's the most wonderful thing.
It's beautiful.
But then you can't go home again. It makes it really painful when you go.
We'll get you there, buddy.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we have officially been recording for an hour and 52 minutes.
Oh, okay.
It is officially my birthday, so happy 40th birthday to me. You're next, bitch. Thank you so much for being here on my pod and getting me drunk. And though I'm pretty much coherent.
You're a cheap date. It was like what, 2 beers?
I mean, I'm okay. I'm not drunk. I'm highly functional right now. Yeah, man. I told you a few months ago, Matt, you got on Polo and you said all this nice stuff. Blah, 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 blah. You're like, yeah. And I was like, I can't believe you just said all this good stuff about me. And I said, I'm going to do this back to you. And little did I know that we would be sitting here. I knew you were coming, maybe by then. But I was like, little did I know we'd be sitting here doing the pod. And now I'm going to tell you everything that I think is great about you. And this is going to be the end of the podcast, okay?
Okay.
I'm getting all choked up already. I'm actually going to open my beer while I do this. Okay. So, you know the story. All about how my life got turned upside down. So, get to 7th grade. I'm in this classroom. This mean old teacher named Miss Master who retired this year. I hope you have a great retirement. I know your name's changed and I can't remember it. So happy. There it is. Happy retirement, Mrs. Arbogast. More importantly, Arlene Master. Yeah, you were an amazing teacher. I just didn't realize that at the time. You just wanted us to focus on the stuff that was in front of us. And I get it. So I'm just this kid who rolls in 7th grade. You know, got a Jason Kidd jersey somebody gave me, and my dad bought me a Kevin Johnson jersey, and I was like, oh man, I'm the flyest dude in here. Blah blah blah. Thinking I'm the biggest thing in the world, and honestly, in junior high, I kind of was. I kind of was in my own head. And I had my friends from elementary school, and I saw him. Like, there was Simon who rode my bus. Shout out to Simon. Like, we're still friends on Facebook, and like there was girls I was friends with and stuff like that. But like it was different. We weren't all in the same class all day. We had classes change and stuff like that. And then I just so happened to be stuck in a classroom with you in Miss Master's class, and I don't know what it was that we hit it off on, but we just started talking, and then from there we just continued to talk, and then we were in more classes, and then we'd hang out at lunch all of a sudden, and then we would play basketball when we had intramurals and stuff. And also, I played the greatest basketball game ever in my life. One lunch, he was there. I dropped like 38. We kept score, and I scored like 38 and had like 9 assists. And he had like, I think he had like 20 points. And like this, we kept score. We made somebody like, I was like, keep score. And like we both balled out crazy that day.
Shout out to Dean Skeen.
Shout out to Dean, man. It was Dean, man.
Paul Rossi.
And Paul, shout out to DJ Paul, man.
And Kyle, I can't remember, Richmond.
Kyle Richmond. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Shout out to Kyle, man. Yeah, that was.
And shout out to Michael Gray.
Shout out to Michael Gray, man. Shout out to all y'all.
Shout out Josh Tharp. Those are all the dudes.
Shout out to Josh, man. Shout out to my man. My man got on a cowboy hat in his Facebook profile picture, and I was like, "Can we be friends again?" He accepted me, so I like to run into Josh sometimes. I hope he's doing well.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, like I never had a friend who I was constantly in contact with like that, and then even like in the summertime, like it's summertime, like everybody exchanges numbers in the year, and then we never call each other, stuff like that. You're like, I'm gonna write you a letter. I'm like, you ain't gonna write me no letter. Yeah. Me and this fool would write letters like in the summertime, and he's the one who was the first one ever hear the Kim story that happened at Candy Hill Campground.
I'll never forget that.
About Kim dissing me because my mom was like, yo, you're hanging out with that girl a little too much. And that girl was like, oh, he can't hang out? I'm going to hook up with this dude who I don't even like. Who I kept telling Kellen that I couldn't stand. I'm not bitter. Anyway.
Not salty.
You were the first person who really instilled in me that, I mean, aside from my parents and family, man, it's just like that you can build your own family, really. And like my own brother, he's my half brother. He's older than me. He had a whole different life than me, and I love him to death. But I've never had anyone as close to me as you. Like it didn't matter. Like no matter what thought it was, no matter what I did, what I had to tell you, I would always tell you, and you just always took it, and you were like, well, you came back with a fair opinion on it. You never judged me for anything, and I felt like I never did that to you. But you really gave me a sense of balance in my life that I didn't know I needed, and so I always had this rock to lean on. That was you, and I had that all the way through high school. And so when you didn't go to college and it was just me on my own, I was kind of lost. Like I was hanging out with Dana, man. I was like, I don't know nobody. And then of course I met Wes and eventually Ed and Steve, and I was still lost. Like I came and found you. I was like, we gotta pick up Matt. He's like, and you're like, Wes like, yeah, pick up your friend. I'm gonna call my friend Matt. We're gonna pick him. We're gonna bring him to Pod State. And we did. And we listened to Stillmatic together in the car. And it was like we didn't miss a beat. And then I drank way too much vodka. And then we brought Matt back the next day. But I mean, that's what it was. Like everything in my life. It was like you were such a big part of my life that you had to be involved in everything. And of course, you're the one who encouraged me to rap because I was already writing my little love songs, my little R&B voice, whatever. But you were like, yo, you need to rap. You're a rap. You're the one who encouraged me to rap. You're the reason that I'm still recording songs this day. Because you're like, you should rap. And you're the one who gave me confidence to even get to the point where eventually I started recording my own little demos and then so on and so forth. And like, I wouldn't have any of my musical output without you. Honestly, there would be no Hyphen. There would be no rap because I had no desire to rap. Like I enjoyed rap. I was getting to know more rap, especially as I got more exposure like from the video channels, and then especially once I was able to tape stuff and eventually CDs and stuff like that. But there would be no rap career without you. There would be no writing stuff that I do without you, because you were the one that always listened to my crazy ideas. I'm like, yo, where is Spider-Man met his clone? And then you weren't even in the comic books. You're like, that's some crazy shit, man. You should write that down. Like, so without having you to like even bounce that kind of shit off of, like, for feedback when I was doing fan fiction, who knows if I would have even done that and become the writer that I eventually became? Because again, you were my sounding board, and I came up with this dumbass idea. I was like, Dad, I don't want to play this game. I just came up with this great game. He's like, he's like, all right, let's sit down and play a game. I'm like, all right. So I'm gonna sit here and we're gonna set a clock for 12 minutes for a quarter, right? He's like, okay, so we're playing basketball game. I'm like, yeah. It's like, so I'm gonna tell you exactly what happens on the court, and then whatever happens when it's your turn, you do the same thing. He looked at me and said, so you're just basically telling me everything that happens in this game, and we're supposed to tell each other back and forth for 48 minutes what happens in this game. I'm like, yeah, we just described the game back and forth. And he's like, that's not a game. So he walked away. And then I told Matt, and Matt's like, all right, well, how do you do it? And I was like, when I'm by myself, because my dad won't play, I just sit there and describe the whole game, and I set the time and everything, and I keep scoring my little book. And he's like, okay. He's like, I'm going to do that too. So, I mean, you sat there and went with my little imaginary basketball idea, and the CBL thing was born, and we did that for a while, and it was like, no matter how stupid, it was stupid.
It was fun though.
Here comes Conley. Conley's gonna pass it over to Spencer. Spencer goes between the legs. Oh, Spencer turns it over. Back comes Hayes. Hayes is coming down the court. He pops a three and drops. All right, inbound the ball and get the assist and everything like that too. And I mean,
I had the 100-point game. And
you
then I
did
think,
have that 100-point game.
There was a rebrand of the team, and they got different jerseys. And I think my free agent deal didn't work through, and I got traded.
Oh no, we were still on the same team. That was not happening. Not happening. But yeah. Even as I got older and then started dating Angel and like going a separate ways, everything always came back to you, man. And you've always been. Before Angel, you were my rock in life, and then I met Angel, and despite her best efforts, not to break us up, but it's like, I'm supposed to be the main thing in your life. I'm like, yeah, but what about Matt? What's Matt doing right now? It's like, Matt, like, you always were kind and honest and sincere, and never diminished any of the crazy ideas that run through my head. You talk about how productive I am in my downtime and stuff like that. Like, how's he find time to do it? I find time to do it because you allowed me to let my imagination run the way it did, even when we were kids. So because you gave me that ability, that's why I can sit here as a 40-year-old and think of these things. I gotta write them down now. But at the same time, think of these things where I try to put them out in the world because you gave me the confidence to become the person that I am. And I love you, and I feel like I'm doing a wedding toast. But at the same time, I miss you all the time, and I'm glad we have Marco Polo. But then also, I think that you do a phenomenal job as a father. I saw it today. I know that you also are a great husband to Lisa. I know that couples are couples, man. I mean, me and Angel do the same thing, and there's always going to be those times you're like, oh God, whatever. But like, oh, I don't know about that. But I mean, you've been dedicated to her since the day that you met her. I wouldn't admit this then, but I was probably jealous then, jealous back in the day, because like, that's supposed to be me. And all of a sudden, all your focus, you had never done that before, where it was like, even with Emily, you're like, oh, Emily. And I was like, yeah, but like, oh yeah, I'm going. I was like, hey, we're going to do that. You're like, I'm like, oh, oh, okay. And that took some getting used to. But I couldn't have done these 40 years without you. And I'm so glad to be sitting here with you on my 40th birthday. Don't get choked up. And I just love you so much. And I can't wait until your next trip that you come back. I'm already looking forward to that one. Because I know we only have like this much time left.
Yeah.
And I can't wait till you come back and we can do it all day. I know. So my favorite parts from last night hanging out 1, 2, 3 was a couple times I just put my head on your shoulder because I know I won't be able to. Because I mean, I put my head on his shoulder. Who cares? We ain't gay. We're comfy. We're comfy. But yeah, you're dope, and despite it all, man, like you really are like one of the dopest human beings I ever met, and I wish you were able to realize that more, because you're just great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the next 48 minutes of the podcast will be CB.
Oh, that's the wrap up music. I guess that we're going to have to just end the podcast before you can rebuttal.
No. We got 48 minutes and we can play this basketball game. 12-minute quarters is what I'm getting at.
All right, here we go. All right. So,
all right.
So are we on the same team?
Yeah, I think
all
so.
All right. So all right. So no, you know what? You do our team. I'll be the 96 Bulls. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So you all right. So tip, the ball goes up and your team wins the tip. All right, go.
All right. So Kellen Conley passes up to Matt Spencer. Matt Spencer passes over to mystery third person who we have not yet named.
Third player in the deal, Steve Kerr.
Steve Shear.
Steve Shear. Okay,
Steve Shear
just
passes over. Almost has the ball stolen by Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen gets the ball.
It's my turn.
Okay,
Scottie Pippen has the ball. Pippen comes up. He crosses the timeline. He looks up at the clock. There's plenty of time. They just got the ball. Phil's calling in a play. He swings over to Ron Harper. Oh, they're putting in a triangle. All right. So Jordan's posted up on the lower block against Conley. Oh, he's going to feed it to Jordan. Jordan's backing down Conley.
Big Easy punches Michael Jordan in the face. Technical foul. 3 shots going to Jordan.
And that is your dismounts. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.